Welcome to this episode of the Business of Practice podcast, where we focus on the physical, financial, and human sides of equine veterinary medicine. In this episode, we're going to talk about the AAEVT with Deb Reeder and Wes Costanza. I'm your host, Kim Brown, publisher of Equine Management. The Business of Practice podcast is brought to you in 2022 by CareCredit. Deb is a licensed vet tech and has spent the last 15 years working in practice management and consulting in the equine veterinary industry. She founded the AAEVT in 2003, served as president for 3 years, and now is the executive director. She helped form the Academy Specialty in Equine Veterinary Nursing, as well as the Society for Equine Veterinary Anesthesia. She also manages and oversees the AAEVT Online Equine Certificate Academy. Wes is the Assistant Executive Director of AAEVT. She has worked as a vet assistant in equine ambulatory and hospital settings. Then she transitioned to industry as a territory manager before finding her career path with AAEVT. So thank you, Deb and Wes, for joining us today to talk about the American Association of Equine Veterinary Technicians and Assistants, or as we lovingly know it, the AAEVT.
Thank you, Kim.
It's great to be here. Thank you. So I'm going to let you tell our audience a little bit more about yourselves so they understand who they're actually listening to today on the podcast. So Deb, I'm going to let you start. Give us a little background and some highlights maybe of your career.
Well, I was very privileged to be able to work with some amazing veterinarians and surgeons and referral practices, mainly in Texas. And I also worked for some in California. I think for me, it was eye-opening when I worked for National Pet Care Centers as an area manager and managed 13 practices around the United States. Just the difference in what was offered for small animal versus was offered for equine. And I really wanted to bring those tools, resources, mentorship, to the equine community. And I've loved what I've been able to do, especially with anesthesia. That was my love, rehabilitation, full care, and ICU, and just the way different practices do things, all the ways technicians and assistants contribute and their unique contributions to the practices. I've loved being able to observe that, help that, mentor that, and it's all come, full circle to the AAEVT, and I'm just privileged and blessed to be a part of this. Gosh, we're in 18 years now, which is just blowing my mind. But yay.
That is amazing. So Wes, give us a little of your background and how you ended up working with the AAEVT.
So I was very fortunate. I worked like Deb, I worked for some really amazing practices, both ambulatory and hospital equine in New Jersey, and worked for quite a while with them. They were sport horse practices. So we did a lot of really amazing things. We were also a referral hospital. And during that time, I discovered the AAEVT at its early inception. I think it was back in 2013, actually, when I discovered it. And my practice supported me in attending the meetings. And my immediate reaction was I found a community and I found a whole purpose. This was just amazing. And the support was just incredible, as well as the meetings and what I took home from it, both not only in, making me feel great that we were actually doing some things correctly and we were on the cutting edge, and also the things that I did learn from the meetings that I was able to share with my staff and the practices that I worked at. So during that, poor Deb, I Velcroed myself to her hip and became a nuisance and kept saying, if there's anything I can do, and if there's anything I can do, this is just awesome. And I'm so happy to be here. So I found myself on the board in a few different settings. I was the secretary for a while and learned a little bit more about the board and just loved meeting and making the connections that we had through that. Kim, as you led to, I was a territory manager. I transitioned to industry. My husband retired and we moved up north into New Hampshire. So I transitioned as a territory manager for a while. So I spent some time in industry, which also the company I worked for, Leopold Pharmaceuticals, supported the AAEVT greatly and believed in the technicians and assistants. So that allowed me to continue my passion with the AAEVT. And when it came time for me to transition into the AAEVT and this position was open, and Deb said, we have this position, Assistant Executive Director, and I was all in. And it's been, I've been doing it for a couple of years now and just absolutely adore it. So it's been a really wonderful path for me. So I'm really excited to be a part.
Well, that's great. Okay, now let's tell our audience a little bit about what the AAEVT is, who you are, and who your members are.
Well, we actually are worldwide. We have members not only here in the United States, but also Canada, some in South America and Europe. And we are a community of like-minded professionals, whether they be technicians, students, assistants, practice managers, office staff. We embrace all of them because really why the AAEVT was formed was there was no place that embraced the equine veterinary community support staff. And so we modeled ourselves after the AEP. They're like our sister organization, and we have a great collaboration with them. We offer regional wet labs and lecture opportunities around, the country. We are working on doing some in-depth Zoom calls on different topics like anesthesia and specific critical care and internal medicine. And then, we have a great collaboration with our sponsors. And so we promote some of their content and some of the speakers that, they bring to our industry. We have our online certificate program, which is really the only place for you to really get immersed in what you would need to know to be able to come and work and contribute in an equine practice. Because as we all know, the AVMA programs just do not have enough equine to help people, come out and be able to work. And then we have scholarships. So we're really proud of our scholarship program that we're able to help people get to meetings, take an online program course, or go to an AVMA accredited program. And we welcome mentorship with our members, getting them published, getting them on programs to speak, helping them find jobs and helping employers find jobs or, job applicants. And just public awareness of who we are. I think we have fit a need that was out there, and we have almost 1,000 members now. So I'm very, very excited about where we're going to go next.
So tell me a little bit about the difference. I mean, we've talked about Deb is a licensed vet tech, Wiss is an assistant, my daughter is an assistant. So what are the differences between assistants and techs and what they can do? Deb, why don't you take that?
So the credentialed path is going through an AVMA accredited program of study, which is about 2 years of college. And there's various routes, whether it's in person or virtual online, or some of them have hybrid. But this is 2 years, at least 2 years of study of pretty much mirroring what a veterinarian has to study when they go on their DVM path. And then upon completion of that, they have to sit for a national board, which is called the VTNE. And upon completion of that, then they are allowed to sit for the state exam, if their state does provide one or require one, to be able to be licensed, credentialed in that state. 52 states, there are 4 different titles, and there are 52 different rules and regulations, which makes it very, very confusing. And an assistant is, a veterinary assistant is just someone who's pretty much on the job trained. There are a lot of assistants in equine veterinary medicine because most of them come from a horse background. So they're, one of the requirements is to be able to handle a horse and keep a veterinarian safe, keep the client safe, keep the horse safe, and keep yourself safe. And, while they do not have the curriculum study that is in an AVMA accredited program, they are able to, in their own way, excel in certain areas because, that might be their focus. And together, I think we need to do better about working out who does what and mentoring and, supporting each other, because assistants are just as important in a practice as a credentialed veterinary technician.
Okay, and that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about AAEVT does offer training for their members. Wes, tell us a little bit about that training.
Sure. So as Deb mentioned before, we have an online Equine Certificate Academy that and anyone can, a member can enroll in. It is it's all online. We do require that you have a veterinarian kind of sign off on you, as well as we require that you attend one of our AAEVT regional meetings so that, we can do a hands-on, make sure that, some people are really great at book reading and maybe don't have the practicality and the hands-on. So we make sure that all boxes are checked. We offer an equine nursing manual that an AAEVT equine nursing manual that is actually used in the online certificate program, and that's the Bible. It's a really great wealth of knowledge. We have our regional continuing educational symposiums that we have throughout the year. We try to hold 4 of those, complete with wet labs, which is we believe the hands-on experience is the best way to learn the new skills. And truly, I'm a see one, do one, teach one, so that works really well for me. I love that. And, our meetings are great that way. People really take a lot home. We have an anesthesia society that we've created, has been a huge success. We have a lot of people that, and as Deb alluded, she's into anesthesia. I am as well. A lot of people that that's their focus. And it has really, really blossomed, done really well. We're currently creating an imaging society that I think will also be just as useful and everyone will love. Through our select sponsors and donations from silent auction and raffles that we hold, also our scholarships to attend some of these meetings, topic-focused forums such as the Anesthesia Society, the online certificate. We try to make sure that our meetings and our education is foremost for everyone, and that we offer something for everyone. And we do hold them because we are global. We hold them on all 4 areas of the country, so that we try to spread the wealth. So it's not so hard from someone from California to have to go to Florida, or Florida to go to Montana. We try to spread the wealth there.
I think another thing we are working on is focusing a lot more too on our support staff that are in the hospital, practice managers, receptionists, because there's no real equine focused training for them. So we're actually working with CareCredit to kind of expand that career enhancement program. And this next AEP, there'll be a whole track for receptionists, practice managers, office staff, anywhere from medical records to resume building to communications, triage on the phone, charting, all of that. So we're trying to build our repertoire, if you will.
And if anyone hasn't, if you have an interest, join the AAEVT and go to some of these regional meetings, which, by the way, they sell out really quick. So you want to be on the mailing list so you learn about them. But they do hold them at different times around the country, and they do have on demand. So if you're too busy or you cannot get out of where you are, you can get some of this on demand. So we just want to make sure that you know that. The Business of Practice podcast is brought to you by CareCredit. CareCredit keeps equine veterinarians at the heart of care by providing horse owners with simple, budget-friendly financing options. By bridging the gap between cost and care, CareCredit supports healthy financial relationships between veterinarians and their clients. It can help them move forward with care a horse needs whenever and wherever it's needed. So besides this online training, you have an annual convention with the AAEP each year. And What else do you offer to members?
So Deb made a really good point about sometimes in our title, maybe at AAEVT, people think, oh, well, it's only for technicians and assistants, but we encompass the whole veterinary team. And we look at it as the AAEVT is a partner with the veterinarian, so with AEP. So we are all encompassing. It's full circle. So I'm really glad that Deb brought that up and didn't mean to leave that out. So yes, our support staff, we're offering all ends for everyone. The most important thing that what I really like is that we have something called regional contacts. So our regional contacts are our boots on the ground, and I'm air quoting. They are our liaisons between our members and our board, basically. So if a member, not everyone feels or has the time to be able to reach out to the board. So their regional contacts are their contacts. They can say, I'm really interested in imaging, or I'm really interested in anesthesia. And that's where these ideas come from. And, they bring them to us, and we, fulfill the needs that are out there. So I think that we really do a great job with a full service and do that as well for our practice managers and our support staff, the complete support staff. With our sponsorships, we have some really awesome sponsors, and we are always trying to share the wealth of what they offer for our members. We do that through our Hoofbeats, which is a monthly publication that we put out to our members. We do that we have something now that we've just created called Saturday Tidbits. So that's just kind of a short blurb, things that pop up, within the week. It's like, oh, everybody might be interested in this. So we pop that out on Saturdays. We have a spring and a fall newsletter, which is a very complete kind of mailing that we send out with articles that we support our members in writing articles or case studies, anything publishing, as well as, presenting case studies. Our website is extremely robust and has a lot of how-tos to help you do those. If you're like, oh, that seems daunting, I have no idea how to start that. We have a resource for you in our resource page on our website. Podcasts like this and, your Equine Management and the magazines, they're all awesome and allow our members to be able to have a voice.
We are not lobbyists per se out there, but we do support states that are trying to, technicians that are trying to work with their state to get recognition for technicians. For example, what happened in Montana, getting the term veterinary technician, in their State Practice Act. We also work very closely with the AEP and collaborate on projects and initiatives with them. It seems like baby steps, but one of our constant focuses is to help educate the veterinarian on the technician and assistant and what we can do and how we can be a better support for them, utilized fully. So we do a lot of that collaboration as well, and seeking out advocates for the AAEVT that are AEP members who will, kind of always speak for us or speak, to us as part of the team. So that's just another side bit of what we are constantly always trying to do to support our members.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So how can techs and assistants help busy equine veterinarians? And we know that vets are really busy right now. So Deb, why don't you start?
I'll start. And I know Wiss has got some great notes too. But for me, I think letting your veterinarian know what you do feel capable of doing or what you have been trained on, if you've gone through a specific program or an AVMA program, letting them know, because, for the most part, they just don't know. They don't understand so much our piece of the profession. And just, coming with a positive attitude and always anticipating, knowing what that procedure is, knowing what that appointment is, know the client, know the drugs that might be used or the supplies that might be used, the equipment that might be used, make sure it's working, make sure it's ready, make sure it's set up. And I think the biggest piece that we also can bring is just being that communication conduit between the veterinarian and the client, helping the client understand, talking to the client when the veterinarian might need to go see another client or horse, and helping them with callbacks. Just be that communication piece.
Right. So there's so many different types of practices, right? We have ambulatory, we have hospital, we have clinics. So, I mean, everyone's role is a little bit different. Their responsibilities are a little bit different. And Deb makes a really great point. Make sure that you're a partnership with your veterinarian. So make sure that they do know what your capabilities are or where you want to learn and where you want to grow. So my best answer to this is what served me well as an assistant for many years is just be present, right? So in other words, listen and read the room. If your veterinarian is discussing a treatment, as Deb said, or a modality with a client, while they're discussing, you're setting that up. You're one step ahead for them. That would obviously be if you were out in ambulatory. You're moving ahead. Maybe you drive for them so that they can actually do their invoicing in between, or be able to talk to their clients or make a call that they need to do. Whatever, just be present and read where you are and see where can you step forward for that veterinarian and take that load off for them. Where can you best do that? Make sure everything's packed up, everything's neat, put away. Your job is really to lessen the load, create more value and time in the day, allowing for another client to be seen or for the day to end at a reasonable hour.
That's a really good point. Okay, so whether you're already working as a tech or an assistant, or maybe you found this podcast and you say, gosh, I really would like to do that, or I'd like to get back to doing that. Do you have a job board for techs assistants interested in a job, or conversely, veterinarians who are looking for help? And how can it be used? Let's let you take that.
Sure. So yes, we have a career center on our website. We have a very robust website. Any member may post a career opportunity, and any member may browse, so to speak, through our career posting site. We're in the process of growing this center as it's kind of really taken on a life of its own. There are many, many job postings that we have. They're all across the country. And we've had some industry members actually wanting to post some career ops for there. So we're part of our process. And, from someone who came from an assistant and then went into industry, I think that's an amazing, great path. And I'll just take this a little bit of a different direction. When I was an assistant and I worked for a great practice, but you feel like those four walls are all there is. It's hard to think that, I live in New Jersey and maybe I can't relocate. So what else could there possibly be out there? So, or maybe I've reached my capacity as an assistant of what I've been doing and I want to do more. So, the AVT with the Career Center, with the industry being able to be, opening doors and letting people realize that there are other avenues. So yes, we offer that. Technicians, assistants, office support staff, we have all of that on our career postings. We actually have a new feature on our career posting side for resumes. So in our members' profile, they're able to upload their resume and they would be able to be viewed by other members. Word of mouth is always the best when you're looking for something, right? And we do have clinic memberships as well. So there are veterinarians that are able then to look through and review and see who is maybe possibly willing to move, or who has what qualifications, what might fit the bill for what they're looking for. So yes, again, that's working together to keep it all full circle.
That's great. And I'm sure that it's going to get even busier now that we've done a little bit. How can folks find out more about AAEVT? And again, you keep mentioning your website, and it is a very robust website. Deb, tell us a little bit about where people can find out more.
Well, I am not a social media guru, but yes, I am. So I manage our social media, and we have a very active Facebook page. We have about 7,000 likes, if you will, people who follow us. So that's been a great way for people to find out about us, as well as we have a community page on Facebook for our AAEVT members only. So we share all kinds of information on these websites, create questions, let them know about upcoming events, resources, case studies, articles, webinars, just a myriad, sometimes even a nice little motivational quote. We do have an Instagram account that's linked to the Facebook page, and then our LinkedIn it's getting there, but that's another place where people can find out about us. I think too, more and more the conversation is out there, hopefully among practices and veterinarians, to encourage their staff to take a look at the AAEVT, because we do try and partner as much as we can with the AAEP. We are getting members their case studies, especially, and some articles being published in equine-oriented veterinary magazines, so people find out about us, in those ways. And I think too, our sponsors, our industry sponsors, have been very supportive of us and helping us spread the word and encourage their team, their sales reps, to walk in the door and ask, are you guys members of the AAEVT? And supporting, them in what they do as well. We're out there. Come find us.
Well, and I'm gonna flip the question a little bit. So, how can vets work to retain quality techs and assistants these days? Because honestly, they're worth their weight in gold.
True. And of course I'm going to say that, but yes, that's very true. I think that we've touched on it a little bit. A lot of times the veterinarian, everyone's in a little bit of a rut. So they're like, okay, you're going to handle the horse. You're going to hold the horse for me. I'm going to do all of the other things. I'm going to take the radiographs. I'm going to do the ultrasound. I'm going to, whatever that modality might be that they're working on, and not realizing the wealth of knowledge and experience that technician / assistant might have for them. So it's basically, we all talk about salary, and, salary is definitely a great thing, but if you don't see and show the benefit of what your staff has to offer, your staff feels undervalued, and they're going to look elsewhere for that value, that self feel. So I really believe that for me, the most of it would be utilize me. Let me do what I can do. Let me help. Let me be a partner, not just, we used to have a little saying that we used, we're more than just a hitching post. So, spread that, let us do what we do. Let us do what our passion is. We're here because we're passionate about the job. So I that's my biggest thing, is I think they really need to retain the staff that you have. You need to show the investment in them and the investment that they have in themselves.
Empower them, and challenge them. And I think, just like was said, making your team truly feel like they are part of the practice and the team, that their opinions, their input, their suggestions, might be very valuable, and, create that atmosphere where they feel like they can truly, make a difference. I think that's when we've asked our members, what is the most important, valuable thing of this career choice, that you've made. And they've to a T always said the ability to know that we've made a difference, not only in the patient, the horse, but, with a client and, with our practice or with my veterinarian. And I think, in the hustle and bustle the last few years and growing, we've kind of been so focused on getting through the day. We need to get back to, being value driven, and, utilizing our peoples, finding out their skill sets, and, bringing all that to the table.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to add for our audience to learn about the AAEVT?
Maybe we'd just like to share with them, since we've talked about our website so much, how they can find our website, right? So we are AAEVT.org. Without being a member, they can browse through. They can't really delve into the resource page and all of that, but they can see all the offerings that we do have on there. our events, where we're going to be next, things that we're holding. Like I said, in the beginning, when I first stumbled upon AAEVT and met Deb and found the community, that the community is an underutilized word, because it really does bring it all full circle. And there's so many avenues.
I think for veterinarians, we also offer clinic memberships. And that's a little different in that it allows the clinic to be able to access, the full breadth of our website, resources and job opportunities and the hoofbeats and all of that. It just doesn't give them individual memberships within their clinic. But that's a great resource for, the veterinarian to be able to join in and post job opportunities as often as they want and research resumes.
And that's great. And we will make sure and include a link for those of you who are listening to the podcast. If you go to the equimanagement.com website, the article that goes along with this podcast will make sure and include a link out to AAEVT. And it's worth going and looking at a pretty vast array of educational opportunities for those who are interested in working in veterinary practice. So thank you, Deb and Wes, for joining us today. And a big thanks to our audience for just being here with us on the Business of Practice podcast. Big thanks to our sponsor, CareCredit, for letting us be able to do this. And we invite you to visit equimanagement.com or your favorite podcast network to hear all the episodes of the Business of Practice. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can send an email to me at kbrown, that's the letter K Brown, at equinenetwork.com. The Business of Practice podcast is a production of the Equine Podcast Network, an entity of the Equine Network, LLC.